seems that we are live.
I'm alive.
You're live. Let's wait a little bit. Few seconds more. Be sure that we are live. Let me tweet it. And we're live with top 10 of 2017 so far. Okay, so this...
Well, there's not that much time left in 2017.
I mean, at least something. But anyway, I hope it now works and we are live and people see us. So hello there to everyone who will see that, who watches it, and yeah, who will watch it later as well. Hello to everyone. This is me, Ilya, and on the other side,
It's me, Kyle.
yeah, it's midnight for me, so I'm not as excited, maybe, but still. Anyway,
I, on the other hand, am always excited.
oh, you are. But anyway, this time, like, there was a great idea that I think, did you, Kyle, have that idea? What was your idea
It was my idea.
to do the top 10 together? And the best thing, because if we would do separate recordings and then have to combine them, there wouldn't be any discussion, and it would be just plain nothing. It would be just
It
boring.
wouldn't be nothing. It would be somebody talking.
Yeah, but it's somebody talking is not always that great. But here,
that's what I do for a living.
through that, but here we can at least discuss and we can look at each other's choices and bash each other's choices. Most
Only
likely.
yours, because mine are all great.
Yeah, mine are too. Cool. Anyway, so here we have a top 10 games of 2017 so far. And this is the video we're going to talk about our favorites from 2017 so far. What that means, at least to me, is that there are a ton of games from 2017 that I haven't yet played. I really want to play them, but I don't have enough time. It's always like that. And I'll be doing my updated list of favorites of 2017 somewhere in maybe February or March. There will be a board game camp in Estonia, so I will have a chance to play quite a few games there. And yeah, I own very many 2017 titles. For example, if we say Bunny Kingdom, Unfair, This War of Mine, Charterstone might be in my top 10. Catacombs and Castles might be in my top 10. I mean, what else? Wasteland, Express Delivery Service might be. Flick 'em Up Dead of Winter might be. The Palace of Mad King Ludwig, because I love Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
So, you can only have 10 in your top 10, right?
Yeah, I know, but they might all fit into my top 10 instead of the others. Kitchen Rush as well. What else do we have here? Queen Domino, Clank in Space. I'm sure I will love it. Tale of Pirates, by the way, is the one that I really want to try, and has a lot of potential. Oh, somebody already put something in the chat asking, hi, guys, what do you think of Azul? I haven't played.
Azul is great!
So Kyle has played Azul, and Kyle thinks Azul is great. So
it's one of my gifts of choice for this year.
Take his word as granted. So, but I don't know stuff about Azul that much because I haven't played it.
If only you'd gone somewhere where you could just play games all the time. Where they had it.
Yeah. The cruise was really cool. Yeah, anyway, but it helped me as well. Or maybe it helped me understand what games I didn't like in 2017. But I played quite a few interesting titles that I would never play usually. We're gonna maybe talk about them later. I think, yeah. By the way, Kyle, So is this your definitive list of 2017, or would you?
Well, I mean, I reserve the right to change it in the next 2 weeks, but I think this is pretty much going to be it for me. There's maybe 4 or 5 games that I haven't played that I'm sure I'll love. Charterstone just arrived yesterday, for example, so I'm not going to be able to put that one on the list. But I think this 10 is probably pretty solid. I had an easy time making 30 top 10 entries, entrants, I guess I should say, and I had to narrow it down. And I've changed my list about 4 or 5 times since I made it.
Yeah, I mean, my choices here as well. The top 10 I have here are the games that will most likely stay in my top 10 March as well, but some of them are not as strong. And yeah, anyway, that was a list. Anyway, but I think we should go to top 10.
All right.
Maybe I'm talking too much, and we should just go forward with this topic. So let's start. Number 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
Number 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Who's going first?
You're going first.
All right, I'm going first. My number 10 is an odd little game. It's one that I discovered, and it's not, I mean, it's a good game. I like the game a lot, but it opened a new world to me. And that game is the Dresden Files cooperative card game. Now, I bought this game because there was a promo card from another game that I really like, Sentinels of the Multiverse, that was a character in this. And I had no idea about the story that was involved, and it just exploded. I started reading the books. I mean, there's like 15 of them, and I couldn't stop. This game just took my life over by storm. The game is a lot of fun. It works well solo, works well with a small group. It's fairly challenging, and it's just a nice story, and it goes through all of the existing books in the Dresden Files world. That's my number 10, Dresden Files cooperative card game.
That's interesting. I don't know anything about this game. Just nothing. And it's a TV series?
No, it's a book series. Well, they made a TV series on Sci-Fi a couple of years ago, but they only made one season and then it got canceled. But it's a series of books about a private investigator / wizard who lives in Chicago and has all kinds of adventures. And the stories, I mean, I read the first book and it wasn't very good, but the second one was okay. And then from the third one onward, I couldn't stop reading. They just became amazing. And so I enjoy the game for the game, but I enjoy the game even more when I combine it with this book series that I just found fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, I don't have much to say about it. Anyway, my number 10 is the game that I don't have. I haven't even bought it, but I'm thinking about buying this game.
Have you played it?
Yes, I have. And this is Shadows in Kyoto. Yeah, I'm sorry, the Google Hangouts live show has its limits, so I cannot put a picture up here, but...
Here's a picture.
Imagine. Oh, lovely.
Just pretend you have it pass through the screen.
Yeah, cool. So Shadows in Kyoto, and this is the idea I gave out in Essen when I played it with Sam Healy from the Dice Tower. This for me is Onitama meets Stratego kind of game. I like how it evolves around kind of deduction more than bluffing, although there is also bluffing, and there is risk taking, and it's extremely simple though. It's a small box. It's simple. You're just moving pieces around. You play the colored card, and then you move to the same colored space. It's extremely simple, but there are also the scroll cards, which give you special movement, which usually you have to go forward. And now with those special cards, you can go left or right. You can go backwards, so you can defend yourself, something like that. But it's extremely simple game as it is. But it's so satisfying. It's fast. The turns are fast. It's a two-player. It's not like a conflict type two-player game where you just bash each other. That's what I like about this one. It's different. Usually two-player games are very confrontational. In this one, it doesn't feel, although you still kind of kill the pieces, it doesn't feel confrontational. It doesn't feel like a battle between two armies. It feels like it's a kind of a deduction chess type, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I played it for the first time with you back in the hotel in Florida. I played it, since then a couple times too. I really like it. I don't know, it didn't make my top list, but it's really fun, especially because there's this bluffing aspect because you can lose by capturing too many pieces and you can win by capturing certain pieces. And that really sort of takes it to the next level because by the time you've captured two of your opponent's pieces of the wrong kind, then all of a sudden you have to be really very careful and the game completely changes at that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like that aspect. It's just, and then you go defensive, but at some point, if you go too much defensive, your opponent will just go forward and win the game. That's how it
Yeah.
is. So it's number 10, Shadows in Kyoto. So number 9 is now.
Number 9 is now. My number 9 is a very silly game. You can't. You have to go like this if you want me to talk to you. Oh, there we go. My number 9 is Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, I know.
Mountains of Madness is a delightfully silly game. It's more party game than regular game. Actually, has very little to do with Cthulhu, but a lot to do with madness. And in this game, you are a party of adventurers, and you're traveling up this mountain. And when you get to the top, as you get closer to the top of the mountain, the air gets a little bit thinner, and you start to get a little bit crazy. And each every so often you'll have to take a madness, and the madness is some silly thing that you have to do that's really a major burden to you as you're trying to communicate with your fellow players. The game itself is pretty simple. You're just trying to put cards, there's little requirements, and you're trying to put cards with numbers in them in a certain pile so that you can reach these goals. But all of a sudden, if you can't talk to people, or if you have to stand at the other side of the room, or you have to close your eyes as you play cards, or if you can't say certain words, or you have to repeat everything the person before you says, it becomes very interesting and very difficult and really very enjoyable. I've won it one time. I've lost it a bunch of times just because as you get toward the top, also the color scheme changes. It used to be all the blues were one particular symbol, and now the colors are wrong, or they're multicolored, or you got multiple colors of the same symbol. It becomes really very difficult and plays with your brain. It kind of makes you feel like you're going mad as you're climbing the mountains of madness. My number 9.
Yeah, it's thematic. I played as well. I played it in Gen Con. I didn't make my top 10, but it's a nice title. The problem I had with this one is just, yeah, it felt maybe too much of that random party type stuff thrown into it. Although madnesses are cool, but what I felt is like, I don't know, but it's my speculation, is that if you would play it more, it wouldn't be as funny anymore, at least for me or for my group.
I don't know.
I
played it a few times now, and I think it actually evolves. I mean, first of all, I played it with different people most of the time, but I know for me as a repeat player, it's kind of evolved because now I'm trying to think, okay, is this person doing this thing because of that reason, or is he doing it for something else that's completely unrelated?
Yeah, but I mean, it makes you act silly. I don't know. We had few spirits as well during that evening, and it was fun. But I cannot see it being solid for many years.
Well, I hope it will be.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, it's your number 9. So, but my number 9 is a game that I now have with me, and I can show it. And it's Muse. And now Muse is from Quick Simple Fun Games, and I got this game accidentally in Essen. I don't remember his name. Yes, I don't remember his name. He just wanted to show me a game, and he asked me if I have Quick Simple Fun games titles of their origin. And I said, no, I don't have any, although I was thinking about Veggie Garden. And he showed me those, and he gave me Muse and Veggie Garden for review. So that's really cool. Thank you very much. And I was thinking, like, Muse looks really cool. It has kind of this Dixit type or Mysterian type, beautiful, beautiful cards. And it's a party game. And usually if you play with less than 4 players, you play cooperative, but it's just a variant. Usually you play in teams. If there are enough of you, you play in teams. One of you will become Muse in your team, and the other ones want to guess. So the Muse is the one who will see the right card that you will need to guess. And he will also have a card which says, for example, hum a melody or name a published book or something like that. And he must hint towards this card, this dream card, whatever, this beautiful card, through that hint, specific hint, like a name a published book, whatever. And
So
then
you're saying this game makes you act silly?
This game, kinda, but it's a simple party game. It's not involved cooperative game. There's not too many rules. It's extremely simple. It's like Dixit type. So that's
Okay.
why. And here, so the thing is that now he gives out the clue, and we are teammates. We are trying to guess the right card out of those 6 cards that are up there. And the cool part is that if you play in teams, then the other team is the one to choose a combination of a card and a hint you must give. So the other team the other team has many choices of cards, and then they choose maybe the worst combination, like hum a melody, but there is I don't know, the sky or whatever. I cannot really imagine right now, but it's a beautiful game and it's a fun game. I didn't know that I would like it that much, but it's fun. It's extremely fun. I played cooperative as well, and it is fun because it makes you act silly, kinda, but most hints are like name something. They aren't as silly.
Okay.
Hum a melody, yeah, make some hand gestures or something like that. Yeah, that too, but yeah, I just love how it looks. And I love how it plays in a very simple way. Kinda Dixit, but better for me. So that's Muse number 9.
I haven't tried this one. This one sounds like one that my family would like, though, so I might have to check that out.
Yeah. So your number 8 now.
My number 8. All right. My number 8 is right over here. Look how well prepared I am today. My number 8 is a cooperative game. It is called Spirit Island.
Ooh.
And this is a game in which you play one of various island spirits, gods type things, and you are trying to defend your island from a bunch of evil colonists who are coming to rape and pillage the land and set up their own new colony. So you are trying to scare them away, you're trying to kill them, you're trying to drive them off the island by any means necessary. Now, what I like about the game, it's kind of, there's a lot of rules to it, and there's a lot of little pieces that you can get wrong and mess up the game, unfortunately. But what I do like, though, is that there are a bunch of these different spirits. I mean, I think there's 10 different ones, maybe even more, and they're all very different. They all manipulate these colonists in different ways. There's one that cannot do any damage. All he can do is scare people. There's one that's super slow. It's the Earth, and he has a lot of power, but he can't do a whole lot, but he's good at protecting. And you know, the combination of spirits you take with the different players will really kind of influence the way the game plays, and because of that, it's all going to be different. Now, there's a bunch of modules and expansions. There's specific colonists. Instead of just generic colonists, it can be British colonists or Swedish colonists that you're trying to get rid of. There are a bunch of little scenarios. Like there's one where there's a treasure hunt. There's one where there's this sacred shrine, and you have to keep people out because if there's people in this shrine, you just lose. And it's just a lot of fun. I played it a bunch of times. It works well, you know, as a cooperative game. It works well solo. It works well with others. And I just really like all these different spirits and trying to figure out which one's best. Also, they did announce that it's connected to Sentinels of the Multiverse because this is the Nexus of the Void. And so that makes it even more exciting because I love that game and I love any kind of tie-in there, as you saw with Dresden Files. Anyway, that's my number 8, Spirit Island.
Yeah, that's the one that I would like to try at some point. I didn't like the minor thing. I didn't like how the board looks.
Well, the board is two-sided. You can have one side that looks kind of like an easy-to-see board that's kind of these bland colors, and there's another side that looks like an island. And the only problem with that one is that, and I mean, each board is double-sided. You can pick which one you want. I prefer the basic one because it's a little bit easier to see what kind of regions you're in. On the other side, it's the canonical version of the island, but it's a little harder to tell the difference between the features just because they've made it look like a real island.
Oh, I see. Oh, sounds cool. Yeah, it's a cooperative game. I'm not into cooperative games nowadays that much, but it's a cooperative game I would like to try. because of the theme and because of how involved it is or sounds. So that would be cool. Maybe at some point.
Well, I know someone who has a copy.
Yeah, I didn't pull the trigger on Kickstarter when it was there.
I never use Kickstarter.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, my number 8. Yes, it is. Okay. My number 8 is a game that I don't have. I'm sorry. But I really like it. The problem is I didn't really know who to play it with, but I still do enjoy it a lot, and that's Magic Maze. Yeah,
Just a moment.
Oh, you will show the Magic Maze. But anyway, I will talk about that so far. So Magic Maze is a cooperative game where each one of you controls kind of a part of a movement.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so Magic Maze, yeah. So each one of you controls the part of the movement, and you all control all those 4 colored meeples on the board, and you are running around the mall collecting the theme is silly. It's like the adventurers have forgotten their stuff, and they are going to the mall to steal that stuff and then go for the adventure. So something like that. So you go through different tiles. You need to get 4 different colored meeples into their own spots in order to retrieve those items, and it's all based on timing. So it's a real time. So the time might run out, you will lose. But when you gather all 4 items, you need to run out of the mall as well. And this is the coolest part. And I played it like maybe it was a night. It was like maybe 3 or 4 in the morning already in the board game camp, where me and another person, his name was Jan, we played this game like 4 or 5 times in a row, adding rules. What I like about this one also, is that you have the basic one, and then as you play through, there are later scenarios as well where you can add the rules, and that's really cool because if you feel like, oh, I'm fine with that, I can move forward. Here we go. The next rule. Now it's a little bit harder. I can move forward from that one. Next rule. And there are 12 scenarios as a member. And the 12th is the hard one. Really hard. I mean, there are many things you can discover, even within the same game. I like it. I think 12, yeah.
I thought there were more than that, but okay.
Maybe more. So anyway, but I really do enjoy the speed element. I really enjoy how we all control the same meeples. But we control different movements. So I will control only left, and you will control only right. Somebody controls only movement forward and going up the stairs. And that's where, it's like you're looking at the other players and like, please look at the board. You have to move that right because I cannot move it down. I can only move down, but you have to move it right. And there is that annoying meeple, the bigger one, which you kind of you put it on the table in front of the other player in order to inform him that he needs to start moving. So that's really cool. I like that. I like the intention of that and the silliness, the fun within it. So that's my number 8, Magic Maze.
This is a game that I've only played about 30 times or so this year. By the way, there are 17 scenarios.
17, okay.
I have not made it through all 17. The one thing I'm noticing, though, is you say you don't like silly games, and then you name a silly game, and then you say you don't do cooperative games, and now you do a cooperative game. So we'll have to see how this works.
I didn't say that I don't like cooperative. Okay. What I said is that I don't play them that much anymore.
There you go.
Though from last Essen, I have tried few because I was kind of trying to be as open as possible on the cruise. Sorry.
Yeah, Magic Maze made it onto my top 10 a few times. It's not on the current version, but I really like this game.
Cool. So let's go to number 7.
Number 7. All right. Well, since I just said I never do Kickstarter games, here's a Kickstarter game. And this is Near and Far.
All right.
Near and Far is a great story-driven little game. You've got an adventurer. It's really, I mean, there's story and then there's game, and they kind of blend together really well. And you can play in a campaign scenario where you're sort of developing your character and becoming better and bigger as you go along. You can just play one-off scenarios, which is what I've done more of, just because I play with so many different people, where you're just trying to get the most points in this particular scenario. But whichever way you do it, it's a lot of fun, and the rules aren't that hard. The scoring's a little wonky, but it's really easy to pick up, and I've played it with a lot of people and just had a great time with it. That is near and far.
Oh, that's really cool. So it was number 7, yeah?
That was number 7.
My number 7 is a game that you don't own and you haven't played, but I've told you about this game, that you need to try this because it's a really cool game, and that is Pioneer Days. So I had it on my anticipated list as well, and I was right about this one. So Pioneer Days is a game where it's a Western themed game anyway. Doesn't really matter. But in this game, you have your cards, and then you are collecting different kind of resources, trying to stay away from the cataclysms, they call them, disasters, and yeah, trying to get the most points. So it's not like the theme is strong there. Anyway, the cool part about this one is, first of all, it looks really cool. The components are well made. They're really, really nice components. And the coolest part about this one is this is a dice drafting game. So on your turn, you will roll all the different dice with different colors, and then you will distribute them based on the symbols onto different actions. And some actions are, for example, you can take an equipment, you can go mining, or you can take a cow, or whatever. You can take medicine, because you need medicine in order to keep your people alive. Because if there will be a disaster that brings, what did it bring? Disease, yeah. And then you need health in order for your people to survive. So, but the cool part about this one is that when you draft those dice, you can instead take a person. And there is a huge deck of cards in this game, and you use only some of them each game, which means there's a lot of variability. And those cards will give you points at the end of the game. So there are a lot of that end of the game points from the cards, and they give you some special abilities. And it kind of first you all start the same, but eventually, as you take the cards, you become different from other players, and you have different possibilities what to do, and quite a lot of choices. I mean, within only the 5 dice that you roll, you have quite a few choices. Because the cool part about that one is that let's say we're going to play a 2-player game. So each one of us drafts 2 dice, and then the last die, 5th die, whichever is the color, that color will advance on a disaster track. And there are 4 disaster tracks of each color. And when the disc reaches the last space of the disaster track of any of the rows, then the disaster will happen. And this is a bad thing, and it will happen. I mean, like, because there will always be at least 1 die left, and that means the disaster track will somehow move. So on there is, like, I can see here, storm, raid, famine, and disease. You can lose your cows, you can lose your people, so you need to prepare for that. Sometimes you have those special abilities, or sometimes you need medicine. So, and you have those kind of really cool choices within kind of rather simple rule set, but it's a medium weight game. You have those choices of, I really need the medicine, but if I will not take this card, I will not get as many points at the end of the game. And then you have like, but if I will not get the medicine, I will have to lose another person, and he will maybe lose me points. I don't know. So there are those really cool choices, and this is a cool looking and really streamlined, accessible, and with lots of variability Euro game, Pioneer Days from TMG.
Oh, so it sounds interesting. I'd love to try it once it's more available over here. So I'll have to try it and report back later.
Yeah. The dice drafting here, which I played Castle. Long ago, I played Castle Dice. I reviewed it long ago. I really liked Castle Dice because of the drafting, but everything else wasn't as strong. So that's why I didn't keep the game. But here, the drafting of the dice plus all the cool choices and cool abilities of people and disaster track is combined well.
All right.
anyway, number 6.
Number 6. Well, number 6 is a tiny little game, a tiny little card game, and it is called Gloomhaven. And it is not tiny at all. It's huge and it's heavy, and it's long and it's sprawling, and it's just fantastic and it's just fun. I remember when I opened this game for the first time, it must have been, I don't remember, January, February, March, somewhere in there. And I set it up, and I didn't even take it down for 2.5 weeks. I just played it constantly. It is a great little game. I mean, you have to like these dungeony adventure games. If you don't like those, you probably won't like this one. But it's sort of a nice blend of almost a Euro-style game with an American-style dungeon crawler. You take characters, you level them up, and the leveling up is just so exciting because as you get different levels, you can customize your hand of cards. You can put stickers on the cards to make them better for the future. You can eventually, each character has his own goal, and that goal might be to kill a certain number of different kinds of enemies. And once he does that, your character retires. He's out of the game, he's done, he goes home, and you get a new character. You unlock a new character. The game comes with a bunch of little lock boxes that you can open. But once you retire him, you take certain event cards and you put them into the event deck, and so your character might show up later. You know, he might make a cameo appearance as you're journeying on to another dungeon. There's a story that you can play through, which I think it took me about 49 games to complete, if I remember correctly. And then there's, a bunch of side quests you can do after that. It's just a lot of fun. It's, kind of rules heavy, and there's definitely a lot to process. And I can't say that it's for everyone, but it is most certainly for me. My number 6 is Gloomhaven.
Cool. This is the one that I'm thinking about trying at some point, maybe. But
probably try before you buy.
yeah. I mean, this is the one that I'm not sure if I will like it or not. I don't know. This is the one that sounds really epic, and it sounds like a solo game.
It is both of those, but you can play it with other people too.
True that. I'm sure it's great. Also campaign, and I don't have time for campaign games. I already have Charterstone as well. So, and I have a few other, like Near and Far, for example, is a campaign game as well. So I just don't have time for too many campaign games. And this one is epic and heavy, and it has this dungeon crawl element to it, then I'm thinking about skipping this one.
Well, you should try it and see. The one thing though is it's kind of a hard game to try because the game doesn't really get you until you start to level up. If you just play a one-off quest, you might think it's kind of like, but once you start to identify with your character, and once you start to build him up and make him better, and start to make choices for him, then all of a sudden the game really opens up, and all of a sudden you're just doing different things. You're no longer playing the game, you're really having quite a nice adventure.
Okay, cool.
So I'd say you have to play it at least 5 times before you can decide whether you like it or not. I mean, the first time I played it, I was like, but I'm in.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I feel is that I need to play it as a campaign in order to.
Yeah, you really do.
On that game. So the same with legacy games, of course. Anyway, my number 6, is the game that I do have and own, but I gave it out to play to my friends. And this is The Last Expedition. It's a small card game with cool theme of the Lost City of Z. And it's a cooperative game. And there you go, cooperative game in my top 10. Another one. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I try to avoid cooperative games, but eventually I'm starting to play.
You're failing.
I'm failing. And I'm playing them more. But there is one. I'm not going to talk about that one right now. But anyway, The Last Expedition is all about a puzzle that you need to figure out. I like to play with 2 players, 3 players. More players is a bit too much. But what I like about this one is that we cannot talk to each other. We have cards in our hand, which have numbers, and we put them down, and they go into order, and we need to resolve them. And it has just a few symbols. It has like you need to resolve this medicine symbol, so you have to lose health, or you will gain some food, or you will have to skip the card, or you have to pull another card at the end of the journey. All you need to do, there is the central kind of a central row of cards. You need to go through that row of cards. The rules are extremely simple, and all this game is about is puzzling out how to best use the cards that you have played on your turn together. The cool part is also about like you cannot really talk to each other about the cards, and there is that morning phase and evening phase. In the evening you will play, in the morning you play your first 3 cards, in the evening you play your last 3 cards, and kind of the other person doesn't know what you have, and maybe he will not play it in the best order, but there are possibilities to reorder cards, there are possibilities to kind of mess. And I like the discussion. We played it on a cruise with 4 players. It was with Victor, with Jamie Maltman. I don't remember the last person's name, but it was really cool. I like how Jamie also, how much he was discussing, how much he was involved with the game, and I love it. I love this game because of its simplicity. It's speedy, yet it's thinky, it's puzzly, it's different. And I'm looking forward to a new kind of edition or sequel to The Last Expedition. It should be with the same kind of core mechanics. And it's the Dr. or Dredd, or no?
Oh, with Judge Dredd?
Judge Dredd, sorry.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd universe.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, and they said there will be new mechanics involved. So I'm like, yes, I'm in. And so it will be coming out in July 2018, I think, or maybe Gen Con. And yeah, Christian Waters already told me that whenever it's out, he will send it to me. Yes.
Well, I really like this game. I'm looking around for it. I had it out just the other day because I got a promo for it in the Advent calendar.
Oh, what's the promo?
It was a couple new cards. There was one that had some horrible monster that could come out and attack you, and then there was some other ones. It was, I think, 2 or 3 promo cards.
Oh, I need to.
But I don't know where I put it, so I can't show it to you. I like the game. I've played it, another good 20, 30 times this year. It's a lot of fun. I played it mostly with 1 and 2 players, which is where I kind of think it shines. I like one thing I like about it is super short. At least in my experience, I either win really quickly or I just lose.
Oh yeah,
It is not a long game. I like that you put out the cards differently in the daytime and the nighttime. Yes. And I believe in the morning it's put out in order, and in the night it's not put out in order. It's put out in whatever order you play them in. And so there's a lot of decision making and a lot of imperfect information. It's a good game. I don't like the little chits though. I think I need to replace those with something else.
Yeah, it would be cool to get something else, but they are good quality. And I
but they're really small.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a small box anyway. And also, one thing more is that I like the big cards, the arts on them. Although I didn't really like the art in the first place when I looked at it, but eventually as I started playing this game, I was like, oh, it's really cool. It's different. It's book type. So yeah. So number 6 was The Last Expedition for me. Number 5 now. Let's go to number 5.
All right, number 5, I got to stand up because it's on the other end of the table, and it's also a light little card game, just like Gloomhaven was a light card game. Number 7 is the game that is a lot like Gloomhaven, but slightly better, and that is The Seventh Continent.
Yeah.
Seventh Continent is an adventure. It's not a legacy game. You don't change things, but you learn things as you play it. One game definitely impacts the other because you get better as you play through the game. You start off this first quest, and you're just lost on the island, and you're told, when the game tells you you win, you win. And so you just go. The rules are really simple. There's not a lot of rules. It's, when you have this deck of cards, that's your communal life, you and whoever's playing with you. And whenever you do tasks, you have to spend these cards. And so you can always spend a few more cards in order to make something easier. You can spend just 0 cards. When you spend the cards, you get to draw them into your hand. But ultimately, you're learning how the island works. And I remember I played through the first quest, and it took me... So the game says that it goes from, I believe, 5 to 1,000 minutes. And I have played a game that lasted 5 minutes. I got eaten by a shark, pretty much the second or third turn. There's not really turns, but the second or third action, I managed to get eaten by a shark. And then I played a game that lasted 1,000 minutes. I mean, it was really long. The one where I won the first campaign, it is a really long game. I mean, you can save the game halfway through, so you're not committed to a 1,000-minute play session, although I was, because I don't do well at stopping. So I just stayed up all night it was with Victor, actually. We played it, and we just had a great time. I've played through, I think, 4 of the 7 quests that are in the box now, and I still think the first one's the best, just because it's the best sort of introduction to how this game works. But there's so much going on. I'm excited for the expansion that's coming out. It is a game that I highly recommend to everybody. The stories are great, the memories are great, and it's just a ton of fun to play. The Seventh Continent. I guess it should have been my number 7 because of the number 7, but oh well.
I was about to back it on Kickstarter when it first was in Kickstarter, like 2 or 3 years ago, like a long time ago.
Time ago.
And I said like, oh, it's gonna be in Essen, so I'm not gonna pull the trigger. I'm not sure about this game, so I'm just gonna buy it in Essen. And then it didn't come out, and now they say that it's exclusive Kickstarter game, which is sad and bad. And I don't know. It's maybe there are some big reasons behind this one, but still.
I think it's really expensive to make because there are, hundreds of cards in this box, and they're all very different. I'm looking forward to the sequel because they're going to fix a couple of errors that were on some of the cards, which tripped me up a few times. I've discovered them all myself.
Yeah, but still, I mean, there are quite a few. If you look at this game is really, really popular. It made a great success on the Kickstarter right now. Mm-hmm. So why not? Like, I would, yeah.
I'm sure it will be reprinted eventually.
Yeah.
As long as there are people wanting to buy it, they'll want to sell it.
I would be cautious on retail if it's not popular, but this game is extremely popular right now. So anyway, yeah, I pulled the trigger now, and I bought the base game plus the expansion.
Oh, okay, good.
Not everything, not the whole package, but this package was also quite expensive.
Yeah, certainly.
Expensive, and they kind of had the shipping was in 2 batches. Like you can get only the base game in March or something like that, April, and then get the expansion in October, or get both in October. Although October, March, April.
I don't know, because they have an idea of what it takes to print now because they've printed and sold it. So I don't know that it'll I don't know that it'll slip this much, but we'll see. I mean, those could be famous last words here.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm looking forward to this kind of because I like the choose your own adventure. Lately, I've been liking choose your own adventure games, and I've been presented. It's kind of like time stories as well. Introduced that kind of an idea again.
Yeah, and this one kind of kills time stories for me.
Oh,
this one. I mean, I like time stories, but this one really, I think the story is better. The story is more cohesive, and just the fact that you're sort of going through it, and each different adventure really bleeds into the next because you're exploring different things. And I mean, I can't say enough good about this game.
Yeah, I don't think it will replace or kill time stories for me, because time stories is my number 4 or number 3 of all time. So I like time stories. For me is like sacred cow.
Well, a sacred cow. That's something that, okay, never mind.
I'm kidding. Anyway, my number 5 is Petrichor. No, it isn't. I just looked at my list and I wrote down Petrichor. If you know this game, it should have come out this year.
It should have.
There is still a delay with the shipping.
There is,
and it will be shipped in January. And although I played only the prototype because we need a Kickstarter preview, I still enjoy the game a lot, and I would have put it on my list if it would have come out eventually this year. But my number 5 is another game which is as great of a game, and maybe even better for me, and that is Santorini. And I don't have Santorini, sadly.
I do.
Not because I don't want to have it in my collection, but because it's It's in another home. Not home now. Sadly or not. Anyway.
There you go.
Cool. So I really want to get Santorini back, so eventually I will buy it. Santorini with the expansion, doesn't really matter. In Santorini, it's an abstract game and extremely simple rules. You move, you build. You move, you build. That's it. And it's puzzly. It's a 3D kind of a built-up puzzly thing game, which makes it from good, small, fast, really fast, by the way, puzzly game into amazing puzzly game. God powers. Your God power is broken. It's too much. It's like it's amazing, but my God power is also amazing. Like if you stay near me, you cannot move, and for example, I can throw you off the board or whatever. And within this small amount of space and within those small amount of not small amount of choices within I mean like the simple rules. Those God powers add a ton of replayability and a ton of fun. And I've played various gods and various kind of and cool part about that one replayability as well is that the game is also very different. Let's say I'm gonna play Ares, you're gonna play Medusa, whatever. And and this is one game. You're gonna play Medusa and I'm gonna play Hades, like completely different gods. Even if one god of them is different, the game is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about this one. It's just so simple, yet so engaging. It's so puzzly, so speedy. I don't know. I thought I wouldn't like it. When I looked at this on Kickstarter, it looked like, kind of childish looking game, and it is. But what a surprise of it. Like, what a smart game, indeed.
Yeah. It is, and the pieces look really great when you get them all put together. They look like these towers on the island of Santorini. There's only one reason I don't have it on my list, and that is because I played it last year. I got mine in December last year, so I had it down as a 2016 game.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah,
isn't it? You get Kickstarter, yeah.
Well, it was available in retail the very end of December. I gave it away for a few Christmas presents last year, but it really did come out right at I think it came out right before I went to the Dice Tower cruise last year.
I remember January. It came out in January.
Yeah, yeah, and so for me, it's a 16 game. I actually thought about putting it on my list, and then I looked at when I'd played it first, and so it stayed as a 16 game. But I agree with everything you said. It's a fantastic game. I love it. It's short. It looks great. It's now a mass-produced game. It's been mass market. You can buy it at Target here, and so it's really available to everybody. But it's it's a game that's really never disappointed.
Yeah. The only problem I think is about this one is that it's quite expensive.
Because it's not.
I mean, it has great pieces. I love it. I would buy this game for that money because I know it's worth it. But it's kind of expensive. I mean, if you look not your US prices, if you look at the discounts, so you look at the European prices, this game is quite expensive. And if there would be a family, and this game would fit families as well. It would be a little bit too expensive for them, like 50 euros or something like that. Was it?
Yeah, but here they've taken it into mass market. They sort of sold it off to Spin Master, and Spin Master has produced a version that looks just as good, but I don't think it has that ridiculous island piece that really doesn't serve any purpose, like that base. And so by doing that, they've cut the price down, and I think it's around $30. The one thing I will say, though, is it says it's a 2 to 4 player game, and that's really a lie. It's a 2-player game.
Yeah, it is. It is a 2-player game. I think I played it once with 3 players.
I did too, and I wish that I had not.
Yeah, it's messy. It's the same as the conflict between the two, and the third one wins. Kind of.
Yeah, it's a great 2-player game, but that's about kind of where it's like Summoner Wars. It's best with 2.
Yeah, that's how it is.
You knew I'd get that on my list somehow.
So anyway, now to number 4s. Your number 4?
My number 4. Well, my number 4 is a game that you know that I have since you brought it for me. I just played it a couple of times. Not played it as much as some of the other games on my list, but I really would love to. And that is...
Oh, yeah.
Altiplano. You knew it was going to make the list. This is just a fantastic game. This is, for me, it's better than Orleans, although I really like Orleans. At least, well, I don't know. If you add the expansions in, they sort of end up the same. This is a very much a logistics game. You've got to get your guy around to these little areas. You've got there's 100 different ways to get points, and each of them works really well. You're sort of building up your set of tokens, and you're trying to pick a way to score. And everyone starts different. You've got access to different resources. You might be a character that just doesn't have access to a certain resource in the game, so you're doing something completely different. It's not very long, although it is longer than maybe I always think it is because I just get so engaged in it. And the rules are not complicated, but there is a lot to process in the game. I think it looks great. I think the component quality is just fine. I like the way that in this game you sort of, in Orleans, you were pulling the tokens out of the bag and then you're putting them all back at the end of your turn. In this one, you sort of take them out and they go into a little discard cup, a little box, and they stay there until you empty your bag. So you're always going to see everything that goes into your bag. So you have to be more careful of it. And there's a whole lot more culling in this game than in its predecessor. I really like this game, and I will play it just about any time. It is my number. What are we on? 4?
4, yeah.
4. I didn't write numbers on my sheet. Altiplano.
Yeah, you know my opinion on that. Though I haven't played this game, I was just watching how it is played, looking to understand the game. I'm sure it's just this game is just not for me. It's a solitaire multiplayer game type. It's similar to Orleans. I played Orleans. I liked Orleans. The problem I have with Orleans is the theme is as boring as it could be, and there's no theme though. And the art is extremely boring. And the same goes for Altiplano. I'm sorry, Clemens Franz, your art is not for me at all.
I like it.
Yeah, it depends on the person. Okay. So anyway, with that, like you said, you lost me on that 100 ways to get points. And that's where I can play. I'm sure I will play this game well. And I usually play those games well. For example, I played Merlin from Stefan Feld recently here. I played also Pulsar with you. And I tend to play those games well, which kind of assumes that I kind of like them. But eventually, when I look back at them, I feel like I don't want to repeat that. It's boring. It doesn't give me anything. I want theme. I want more evocative, maybe art, or I want to have some kind of engagement and random elements and such. So that's where those kind of games don't shine for me. But matter of taste. I'm sorry, I know that quite a few people like Altiplano.
Yeah, for me, I just love this puzzle of trying to figure out which of these many choices am I going to do, and you really have to double down on something and then just do it. And every time I've played it, I've done something different, and every time it's worked out. It's been a very close, competitive game. So I think all the different strategies are really balanced. I mean, I guess there's a little theme. You're taking llamas, or what are they called, alpacas, to market and getting some money for them. I don't know. That's really exciting. But I really like the game. So
Sure, yeah. A lot of theme.
A lot of theme. Trading in the Andes.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
No, I'm not.
Let's go to my number 4. Number Thor. Thor Hammer. I cannot get this game. Oh. And this is the first crossover. Oh my god, this is near and far.
All right.
I have a Kickstarter copy as well, and I kick back to the expansion.
Oh, so did I.
It adds the kind of extra element to the mining. It makes the mining more
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't know, but I'm sure it is. So Near and Far, it is a great game, as you said. I like the narrative part. I like how, in Above and Below, the narrative part was extremely cool. It was like, and the people wanted to go out and go exploring most of the time instead of just playing efficiently because of the stories. But it wasn't that connected, and it felt like eventually it felt like, oh, we're playing that part of the game versus that part of the game. Now, in Near and Far, You're playing the whole game. You're gathering your equipment, your people, and then you're going on an adventure. And then you have those adventures. You have that book as well. You have those stories as well within it. It's extremely cool. I like the worker. I like how solid is the worker placement part here. The art is amazing, of course, but it's a solid Euro game. It's not like the stories are overwhelming compared to the mechanics. The mechanics are really solid. I really like being in the town and doing various stuff there, and that dueling stuff, whatever. And then you can move faster if you get the bird or whatever.
Or the turtle.
Turtle, yes. Which is why the turtle? Why are you moving faster with the turtle? Okay, whatever.
He's helping to carry your stuff.
I really want to play it more. I really want to play it more because for me, this is a definitive Euro game with theme of this year. So there is quite a lot of theme, and I like the mechanics from above and below, and this was kind of a above and below advanced.
Yeah, and it has a lot more game. In Above and Below, I like it, by the way. I like Above and Below. In Above and Below, really, it's all about getting these resources and putting them on your track and waiting until the last minute and putting them out there so that the one you get the most of is at the end. And whoever does that really ends up winning, or whoever builds a lot of buildings. In this one, you can do some adventure. You can, do it with the story. You can also go out and just sort of explore and build up your, all those little tents all over the city, all over this map. And the maps are all different. The stories are all different. I think that little map flip book is really quite ingenious. It's a nice way to have a lot of different stories in just one game and not have it take up a lot of space. As you know, it's on my list. So near and far is a game I love too.
So let's go to number 3. Yeah, you're number 3.
All right. Number 3. Number 3, I told you that there was some upset near the top of the list. And this is a game that, it is set up on my table right now. And after we're done with this, I'm going to hopefully be able to play it. And that game is Pandemic Rising Tide. Pandemic Rising Tide is the best Pandemic there is. This game takes Pandemic and takes it to a new level. I mean, the theme is, take it or leave it. You're saving the Netherlands from floods by building dikes and reinforcing the dike system. But unlike regular Pandemic, where you've got all these diseases that are coming out, when you flip over the negative cards, you're going to sort of degrade the dikes, and then you're going to start putting water in, and then the water is going to start flooding. And if you haven't kept your dike network intact, the water is going to just flood all over the countryside. The goal is kind of the same. You're developing the 4 cures, which in this case are 4 hydraulic pieces of hydraulic equipment, and you have to be in different spaces. It is not easy. It is definitely doable, but it's a different experience than regular Pandemic. And I think it's definitely my favorite of the Pandemics. That is including legacies, although the legacy stories are, a lot of fun. Pandemic Rising Tide is the Pandemic to get, in my opinion.
This is the one that was set up on Dice Cruise, and was thinking like, oh, maybe this is the Pandemic I should try eventually, because I haven't tried any of the Pandemic series games.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, it doesn't look great. It doesn't, jump off the table and say, play me.
It's boring. It looks.
But it's done by the designer of Food Chain Magnate, so what can you expect?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But the game itself, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't, it's kind of bland colors on a map of the Netherlands. But just the way that everything works together and the puzzle aspect is just so engaging. I really, really love Pandemic Rising Tide.
Cool.
And there is, yes, in case you're wondering, there is the card of the kid putting his finger in the dike.
Yeah. I might try it if I get a chance. I'm not against it.
But... Well, I'm glad it doesn't horrify you. It is just a game.
Each time he tells me about Pandemic, I'm like, I don't care about this one.
I love Pandemic. I love all the Pandemics, but this one is my favorite.
Yeah,
and it's not close.
Yeah. Anyway, I cannot play all the games in the world anyway. So
sure you can. I do.
You do. Anyway, my number 3 is a bigger box, and this is the game that I I thought I would like, and then eventually I thought I would not like that much, but I do like it quite much, and this is The Godfather.
That just barely missed my list.
Oh, so yeah, in Godfather, I really like the vertical placement spot and those upper and what do you call them? Upper and bottom actions.
The front room and the back room actions, or however they are.
Kind of like that. I like how you have the components are really cool. I like how you put the money in the pockets, but you need to have the money in front of you as well. Not in the pockets, in the what they're called, the
Suitcase.
suitcases. Sorry, yeah. Um, and how there is that area control element extra to it. It feels like this kind of a kind of sequel, kind of spiritual sequel to Blood Rage, kinda, but it's really not. It just feels like it because it's cool, me or not. But anyway, I do just really enjoy it. I don't want to talk about it that much. I do really enjoy the aspect of there are some cards that are bad for the other players, and I like that because here it really connects to the theme. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna do the take that against you because I don't know, it's Munchkin. No, here it's the Godfather. You kill each other. Like the area control aspects. And it's engaging. It's not a difficult rule set here, and
No,
yet
it's not hard at all. It's very simple.
it's not extremely thematic as well. But still, I do enjoy this game.
But yet it still is. I mean, I haven't played this game where people have been role playing. I mean, this game just encourages you. I remember the second time I played it. The first time we were just trying it. The second time I played it, we found a loop of a 10-hour loop of the Godfather theme, and just put it on in the background while we were playing, and we were
Oh,
making bad Godfather voices and imitations. It,
yeah, you kind of do that, yeah.
the thing I like most about this game is that it encourages you to get a lot of money, but then you have to throw it all away. I mean, you really have to make smart decisions, not just go and get a ton of money,
Yeah,
because at the end of the round you have to throw everything away if you have too much of it. And so you have
yeah,
to be really clever with when you're doing things rather than just doing what you know you need to do.
and that's where I feel like the suitcase versus hand mechanic is really cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of little kinda reminds me of Valley of the Kings,
Yeah.
where you have cool cards in your hand and you can use them, but eventually, if you want to get some points, you have to entomb them, and then you will lose that card from your deck, and you
Mhm.
can no longer use it. So that's what I like about this one as well, and I love Valley of the Kings. So
I
my number
know.
three, yeah, it is. It's the if I don't know pure, yeah, it's the best pure deck builder for me anyway. But we're talking about the Godfather, and it was my number three, the Godfather. And let's go to number two.
All right, my number two. So when I was making my list, I knew what my number one would be, and I knew what my number two would be, and the rest was really kind of very difficult because the rest of the games have been great. But
Same.
my number two, Clans of Caledonia. Clans of
Oh,
Caledonia is excellent. This is a game I have been force feeding people for months already. It is just so much fun. This is the Euro game for me. You are building your network. You've got and the pieces look great. You've got all these little whiskey keg
wow.
meeples, and you've got little cows and sheep and milk bottles and cheese, and you're sort of building your network, and everyone has a special ability. And the special abilities don't sound all that exciting on their own, but in the game, they're all super overpowered. I mean, each special ability is just much better than all of the rest of them, which just makes it more fun because most of the game is sort of maximizing your special ability. I think my favorite one is this lady, and she can always sell milk. She can sell milk for a lot of money, for the maximum amount, for $8 a bottle. And so what she does is she goes all into milk, and these special abilities sort of give you a direction. I mean, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. But the special abilities are really what make the game for me. The box, my only complaint is it's much too small for the game. It's very difficult to fit everything in and keep it organized. But I can't say anything negative about the game. I love it to death, and I've played it a lot of times, and I imagine I'll play it 4 or 5 more before the end of the year still. That is my number two, Clans of Caledonia.
Yeah, This is the you look at this game, you hear about this game, and you see like, oh, this is the standard Euro game. Theme maybe is there, maybe not. Looks boring. You just collect points and do your usual trading in Mediterranean, although it's not the theme here, but kind
Yeah,
of.
but the game really pops on the table. I mean, you've got all it's not it doesn't just look like a boring trading game because you've got it's a colorful board and you've got all these little different shaped meeples all over it. And I've always found that people come over and say, "Oh, what's that?"
Oh, when I saw it in Essen, it looked extremely boring. I was like, "What's that? Ooh, uh, that is." Um, anyway, this game is just not for me. I can already see that, and I will not try this game because I don't want to. I have so many really cool. I have like 35 or 40 unplayed titles on my shelf that I really want to play. And no, I'm not gonna spend my time playing.
I don't know. I think this might be another Blood Rage situation where if you tried it, you might find that you like it. But I guess that's up to you.
Blood Rage is Blood Rage. It's still a thematic, cool looking game, and it has the mechanism of Euro game, and it has a blend of kind of a hybrid type game. So that's where I just didn't look into Blood Rage when I did. Well, it was a Kickstarter. I didn't look into mechanics. I was like, oh, it's School Me or Not doing Ameritrash. So that's what I thought about that, and that's where the surprise came in because I didn't expect the hybrid time game. I like hybrid games, like Cyclades. I have to mention.
I've heard you like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, my number two is a gorgeous game and a game I really wanted, and the game that we got for review, the game that we reviewed. Eventually, we were one of the first ones, the first one to review this game, and this is Yamatai.
Oh.
Yamatai reminds me of Five Tribes. If people say, like some people say, you shouldn't compare them, they are different. Yeah, they may be some spiritual.
But you have to compare them.
You will compare them, and if you Five Tribes, you most likely will like Yamatai. But Yamatai is Five Tribes. It's kind of mirroring the mechanics of Five Tribes, in my opinion. But in this one, you're building up the roots of those ships, which are not just a ship to transport goods. They are the goods. They are the resources, and you kind of want to put them kind of puzzle type of when you want to put different colors around the islands, so you can claim tokens. You can build on those islands. You can build your huts, whatever, and score more points. What I like about this. Yamatai is the same with Five Tribes as well. The two-player variant where you both have 2 turns in a round is extremely satisfying. I love that. Some people hate that. I love that because I can have 2 turns in a row and I can do big things with that. And that's extremely cool. It looks great. It plays well. I like the turn order and the ship mechanics. So you kind of can get the ship with number 10, whatever, but you will go later into the turn, and it might be risking because then somebody else might take the island because you want to get the chain of those different islands. But sorry, chain with houses on the islands, because then you score quite a lot of points.
Money, not points.
Oh, money. Sorry, yeah, points. Money is the points.
No, it's not. Money is only 1/5 of a point.
No,
unless you have that special tile.
Wait. When you houses, you score points.
Yes, but when you build a chain, you score money.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Midnight. It's okay. Yeah. Anyway, the coolest part about this one, though, that I haven't said yet, is the specialists. You begin similarly, but you choose different ships already, so you kind of start with different resources already within the game, and you kind of have different resources throughout the game. But as you start getting those specialists, you become a different player because the specialist will give you the focuses or focus to do the strategy. I mean, like, this is money heavy, or this can always change the boat into the gold boat or whatever, or sell stuff. So you can kind of maybe you want to try to get more resources and go last into the turn, but you can convert them into golden boat or whatever, the yellow ones. Anyway, I do enjoy this game a lot. It's gorgeous. It's accessible, in my opinion. It's not gateway game by any means, but maybe because it has those similarities to Five Tribes, and I do love Five Tribes. I don't know. It just is such an elegant French type Euro game, and I adore this one. This is Yamatai.
I really like Yamatai. I've played it lots of times this year. Lots of times with the same person. I definitely like the 2-player version better than the 3 or 4.
Oh yeah.
I like the artwork. I mean, it kind of, the interesting thing about it is that it's kind of a hodgepodge of different mechanisms. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of theme there, but it's a lot of fun, and everything really works together, and it is not hard. And the player aid that you have is really quite useful. It walks you through the steps, and everything really kind of fits together. That being said, I do prefer Five Tribes of the 2, but maybe that's because of the expansions.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some expansions for Yamatai in the future. I don't know which I prefer more because I don't have Five Tribes anymore, but I want to get back as well. I would also maybe say that Five Tribes with the expansion, especially the one with the mountains and magic. I haven't tried the next expansions. Is maybe a little bit better than Yamatai, maybe in my top 100, but. Or I don't remember. I don't remember if I put Yamatai up or down. I need to play them both now.
Yeah, play both again. I mean, I like them both. I just like Five Tribes better. Yeah, because I think it's a little bit more accessible.
Yamatai, by the way, it's Marc Pacquiao is the second. So Bruno Catala and Marc Pacquiao made Yamatai, and Marc Pacquiao is a rising star in my opinion because he has another game coming up. I played only the prototype. It's Treasure Island. I'm talking about this a lot, but I played his other game with Vincent Dutray art, and I'm hoping it should come out in 2018 now. It's gonna be an amazing game. You're gonna love it.
I'll look forward to it.
Oh, it's if this game comes out 2018, and he said he repaired a lot of stuff because it was delayed by the whole year now because of the development of the game.
Oh, that's good. It's better to have too much development than not enough.
Yeah, I like that they are still developing because they must make this game perfect from Matagat. And Marc Pacquiao is a talented designer. Anyway, let's go to number ones.
All right. So my number 1 is the one that's missing from the list so far. My number 1 game of 2017 is Summoner Wars. That's my favorite game that I played in 2017. Well, my favorite 2017 release is the surprise of surprises, which is Pulsar 2849. Now, whereas I would maintain that Clans of Caledonia does have its own level of theme, Pulsar 2849 really does not. It is very much a nice, dry Euro game, but it's a whole lot of fun to play. It's not super long. I remember the first time I played it in the dark in that lounge on the cruise. Remember that first night when we didn't have any light? And, I'll tell you
about that as well. So I didn't want to play it because my eyes I was tired.
Yeah. Well, it is definitely much better with enough light. But most games are much better with enough light. But other than that, I mean, this game just took over. This game, I tried to play it every chance I possibly could on the cruise. I played it since then. It's just a lot of fun. There's just so many different things you can do. And every time I've played it, I've done something different. And every time you do something different, it's possible to do it. You can do so many fun things. It's just a very simple dice drafting game. But the interesting thing is, you roll these dice, which is going to be 7 dice in a 2 or 3 player game. It's a little bit more with 4. But you roll these dice and you sort of put them out on this sheet, and you find out which is the median. And if you take dice from the median, nothing happens. If you take below the median, then you're going to improve on these 2 little tracks, and they can get you better turn order or some more resources. Or if you take the better dice, which of course you want, then you're going to degrade yourself on these tracks. And it's really interesting the way that works. And then there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can get points. I mean, this game has as much theme as Russian Railroads does. But but sometimes it's fun to play a game that's just all about getting as many points as you can and finding an exploit and just exploiting it. and that is this game for me. I guess the theme 2849 is 1,000 years after the gold rush, and now they're out looking for energy from stars. I guess that's the theme, but really it's just about trying to get as many points and trying to maximize your exploit to the best you can, and I just have a ton of fun with this game. My number one of the year, Pulsar 2849.
Yeah. Let's say. So no, I played this game. I cannot say it's.
I know you did.
And I won.
You did by
and
1 point.
That's what I tell you again. I tend to play those games well, but I tend not to like them that much. And I like the exploration part. I like how you go and you explore the planets and what you get, if you get the reward, or if this will be a dead planet. I really like that aspect. And this is a small aspect. If you focus only on that, you will fail. Only on that small aspect. Because if you focus on the whole, expanding hugely on that board, then through that, it's one of the strategies. I like the idea of technology. Although for me, there was quite enough of technology. It was a little bit overwhelming. Some technology was just not that exciting to choose. When I looked at some of the technology, I was like, nah, who will choose that? Maybe somebody will choose, but it's boring. And overall, yeah, that as you said, this is a kind of a classic dry Euro game. And as a whole package, it's just a little bit maybe too overwhelming for me, regarding that you can get points in so many different ways, and all you do is you match symbols and try to match the strategy in your head. And that's where it takes away the fun for me. I want to have some relaxing moment. I want to have some, though, I don't know, in Yamatai, I don't know how much there is, though, maybe with some ship choosing, and if sometimes it's obvious. But with Pulsar, there are so many choices all the time that it's too much. I want, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes I want games to limit themselves of choices. Otherwise, I'm just sitting there and thinking, and it's not fun. So,
no. And see, I just picked something, go for it. Pulsar is not a game that I think everybody will like. It definitely doesn't jump out off the table at you. It kind of looks a little bit dry and boring. I mean, the ships moving around this space system is okay. It's interesting. The board is round, which I kind of like. You don't see that many round boards. But for me, this game is just so exciting. The whole puzzle of it all, and maybe that's the way my top 3 games is. They're all this different way to figure out this optimal route, and my brain just fires on all cylinders there, and I just really like Pulsar.
yeah. So, last, my number one is a game, or I would say, now, you can say it's a cheat, and it probably is a cheat, but it's kind of a genre. And I did the same in my top 100. And I officially, let's say, I'm going to put here Unlock. But Exit the Room, which came out also in 2017, for me, it's the same. I just cannot put them separately. That would be otherwise it would be like Unlock would be number 1 and Exit would be number 2, but it's unexciting. I cannot really put them onto separate entries. They're doing exactly the same purpose for me, exactly the same escape room games, just with different core elements. I mean, not the core elements, but just with different systems, but exactly the same game. It's like above and below and near and far from me kind of stuff. I wouldn't put them both on the list. One would replace the other, basically, or they cannot exist together. Anyway, Unlock. Escape room games have been really popular lately, and I've played all of them, which are in English. All the ones that came out, I've played, because I'm obsessed with escape room games right now, because they're so satisfying. When I played Unlock, this is the second one. This is what's called the Mystery Adventures. There was the first one. This is the European box with all 3 titles. So this is the other 3, 4, 5, and 6 scenario. And in Unlock, you have those cards, and you kind of go through the cards. You're solving the puzzle within the cards, and they have numbers on them, and you're trying to get new cards with those numbers. And there's a lot of theme within and art is great, and there are different approaches of how to use the cards. It uses the app as well. You can get hints from the app, or you need to put the codes down, whatever. It has really cool tutorial system here because it has this tutorial of 10 cards. You go through those 10 cards maybe in like 5 minutes, and you already understand how the game is played. You don't have to read the rules. You don't have to, which is really cool. It's resettable. So with the exit, the mind, I like exit a lot with this kind of, you cut the pieces, you destroy the pieces. Exit. That's why I don't have exit right now in front of me, because I
threw it away after you were done.
I mean, I had 6 boxes of destroyed components. I mean, like, what should I do with that?
Yeah.
Just throw it away eventually because it takes room. But in Unlock, you can reset those cards because they have the small numbers in the corner, and you can give it to another person. And you don't have to teach that game to them. You just say, go through that deck of 10 cards, and you know how to play. And everyone who I gave it to, everyone was amazed. Everyone was liking this game a lot, and especially with 2 people. I played the first scenario here, the manor, the horror. I played it solo. I didn't really like it solo. For me, the escape room games are not solo games. They are with figuring out stuff, because I'm a little bit dumb with some of them.
They are harder solo.
Yeah. So the thing is that if I'm stuck, then I'm stuck, and I have to take a hint. And eventually, my brain just stopped working, and I was taking hints all the time, and it was not as satisfying. If there's another person, at least 2 of us can kind of get the conclusion. I played with 3 players as well. Played with 4 players as well. I think no, Exit I played with 4 players. Anyway, doesn't matter. Any of those. Exit is less theme, destroying components, and Exit is more of that. Harder puzzles, thinking even more outside the box. Here it's more inside. But the last scenario here is Tonypal Treasure. It's amazing. They kind of find ways how to use the cards in the new way. And I just adore. If a new unlock comes out, I will pay a lot of shipping or whatever I must pay to get the new box of unlock. That's how much I love those type of this new genre. And that's where I cheat a little bit, because they kind of feel the same but with different system. And whatever something new comes out, I'm in.
Yeah, I really like these games. I think I like the Exit series better because I like the different clever twists that they do with the puzzles. I mean, each one has at some point made me go, how did I not see that? And but I like the unlocks too. I think the thing with the unlocks, I think the reason I like Exit better is the unlocks, you have to add those cards together, and I just always make an arithmetic mistake and then can't find the card. That's more user error. But
yeah, but the idea of combining 2 cards together and getting a new number is really cool.
Yeah, it is. I definitely I appreciate the mechanism. I just am not good at doing it. The one thing I like about these is that you can teach them to anybody regardless of skill level. There's not really any gaming experience required. Of course, they are sort of one-time events, and that's sort of a downside to them for some people. I've enjoyed them. I've played a few of the unlocks. I've played all of the exits except, well, I played all of the original 3 exits, and I have a bunch of them in the bathroom here, waiting for some willing victim to come over so that I can play another set. Maybe Christmas time.
Yeah. With both of those, I don't know. With unlock, I don't know if I like unlock more or exit. Though I played the what is called the escape room, the game where you have that kind of big machine.
Squawk box.
Yeah,
that's my least favorite of the series. But
oh really? I do adore it. I would put it on the same level as exit and unlock. But I played expansions as well, and so.
Yeah, I mean, I played through all of the scenarios in that set, and I enjoyed them. I think I like the hint system in unlock and in exit a little bit better, where you can sort of get one wherever you want.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, they're all the same for me. That's where I cheat a little bit. But I cannot really compare. I cannot rate them because they are like, for example, from unlock, I like this scenario a lot, and this scenario a little bit less, but also like it very much. And from exit, I like maybe this scenario more. So I'm looking towards not really, so this is unlock and this is exit. I'm looking more like, oh, this is this scenario versus this scenario. It doesn't matter from which system it is. I like this scenario the most and this scenario the most. So I like the Tonipol treasure the most. I like the first boxes, the last, also the treasure island, the tropical island themed one.
Oh, you like that one?
The hardest, and some people hated it, but I loved it because it was most thematic, most difficult.
That game drove me crazy. Those puzzles toward the end, which I shouldn't talk about, those puzzles right there at the end just drove me insane. I mean, when we finally figured it out, I was like, oh my goodness, how could I ever have seen that thing?
Oh, it was extremely cool.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was very.
It was. By the way, I like the from the 3 new ones. I like the one with the knight, Templar or medieval knight.
I haven't played it yet. My favorite of the exits is the Pharaoh one, the Egyptian one. But I liked all 3 of those. Yeah. I like the unlock that I played.
The 3 new ones.
Oh, I will.
One of them wasn't as satisfying, but the other 2, I like the knight one. Like, I love them all, but within those, if I would rate them, the scenarios themselves. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna talk about unlock too much. Anyway, I just adore it. It's in my top 10 of all time as well. Anyway, so we went through the list. It was a long video, but I hope it was a lot of fun.
At least it was. 1 minute per game, right?
No. I woke up eventually. At first, I was so sleepy, and now I'm feeling like, oh, I can talk about games.
Yeah, that's what I always do.
Yeah. So anyway, this is my picks so far, but as I know that there are so many cool games, really great games, most likely great games that I will still be trying out throughout next 3 months. I'm gonna do a new top 10, updated one, and I'm sure there will be changes because some of the titles that I showed you right now aren't as strong. So, and I'm hoping for the best.
Well, I hope for the best too. Like I said, I think I'm probably pretty settled with these. Although, you know, once I try a couple, I still have a few games that have come out this year that I have to try. Gaia Project, I still have to try. Charterstone, I still have to try.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could have made a top 30. In fact, I did make a top 30 very easily. And this was really a very good year for some really interesting and innovative games for me. And I just am happy to have played as many as I have.
And there are some games that should have come out in 2017, and they are delayed. Like, for example, this Treasure Island or the
Fog of Love. Fog of Love is one that might be on my list.
I want to try the Fog of Love. I heard a lot of cool stuff about this one. It should be really thematic. I really want to try this game. And Seventh Continent, for me, that because it will come from the Kickstarter, I will try it later. Although
hopefully it will come through the Kickstarter.
It will come from the in 2018. Yeah, Victorian Masterminds, for example, Imaginarium from Bombix and Bruno Catala. So I'm really looking forward to quite a few. I already have a whole wish list of like maybe 30 at least different 2018 games that I'm interested in.
Oh wow! Yeah, I have so many games sitting around here. I just got a bunch yesterday too. How many, out of interest, do you know how many games you played this year? Like different titles?
I'm not sure. Where's my phone? Different games, you mean?
Yeah, different games. Not plays. I mean,
it doesn't show right. So, for example, in the last, so the app says the last 365 days I had 209 unique games, but it might be more. I'm sure it's more.
Well, if you're in the same app, I don't know if you have the same app I do. If you go under Insights and then hit year and go to 2017, it'll tell you not just the last 365 days, but the 2017 year, which is almost the same.
203 says, and new games 113. But the thing is that I don't have the data is not as accurate here.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I have played around 200 new different games. New, I mean, like the ones that I haven't tried before.
I have played 353 games this year. I don't know how many of those are new, or 248 of them are new. And that is a total of 2,612 unique plays. But I don't know. I have played 4 games over 100 times. I bet you could guess what those are. But anyway, that's, I guess, for stats are for a different video. But I hope to round it out by the end of the year and get a few more in.
Oh yeah, there were quite a few. The thing about, I'm going to wrap it up as well, but the thing about this year as well, there were very many titles that I enjoyed, but I didn't feel like they're worth top 10. And there also, I played a lot of 2016 games because I didn't have time to play them in 2016.
Like Santorini.
Yeah, for example. But I played quite a few 2016 titles in 2017, and that's where the camp comes in as well.
Oh, yeah. I wish I were going to the camp this year.
Well, yeah. Next year.
Oh, well, maybe you can persuade me in the summer. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, I will. So we can play more games. Anyway, thanks. Thank you for watching. It was cool.
It was fun.
And eventually, all the videos that I do it for myself as well. I do it because I like to do them, and it's fun for me as well, and hopefully fun for you. So I do it for the audience and for myself as well. So, Kyle, do you want to say something?
Play a lot of Summoner Wars.
Okay. Play a lot of Cyclades and Summoner Wars, and Unlock, and maybe Pulsar.
And Pulsar 2849. There.
Maybe.
All right. Well, we should probably end this up. So
anyway, thank you so much. We see you another time. Good night. No, not we. Stop broadcasting.